Okay, thank you so much. We're just getting up and running. How's your evening so far, Veer?
Doing great. Just finished the daily 2 YouTube videos. The space is always so exciting. Wake up every day, loving every minute of it. So grateful to be here.
Fantastic. Well, really great to have you here. So we're just getting started, and so I don't want to jump straight into it yet. I want to give people a chance to dial in. So while people are just clicking and refreshing and dialing in, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know the community's heard a lot from me, but tell us about yourself, about your journey.
Sure. So basically, I started investing in crypto, I think, 4 years ago. I was always very entrepreneurial. I was always a little bit like off the beaten path as well. I've spent the last pretty much ever since I finished high school, I kind of started my own business, traveled the world, spent most of the time in Asia, kind of exposing myself to a lot of cultures. And I think that's what really helped me really grasp crypto. When I heard about it, I had that aha moment really fast. And I think having like a non-traditional background of exposing yourself to a lot of different cultures and all of that really helped me understand that. And once I grasped that, the value and potential of cryptocurrencies and now NFTs, I was really hooked ever since. And I always loved public speaking. I wanted to be a public speaker when I was a kid, and I kind of became a YouTuber, which is kind of like a funny representation of that in the digital world. Been making like videos about crypto, been fascinated about that for the last 3.5 years now. Been really grateful to have a small following, support a lot of projects, and just really live out this entrepreneurial side of me in crypto. So I've been really enjoying that.
And just if you don't mind me asking a personal question, what did your parents or family or friends think when you said you didn't want to get a real job, you want to do this crypto influencer thing? I can't imagine that everyone was thrilled when you first told them.
Yeah, so basically that point actually came out when I was 18, not when I started crypto. I started crypto when I think I was like 23. So that was literally like 5 years after that point. But for me, it was a bit of an extreme case because I'm originally from a country where everyone has to do like 3 years military service. And I got accepted also into like a really prestigious programming place in the military. So imagine getting accepted into the MIT of the army, like the most, it's like getting accepted to Google, Facebook, all of that. I worked really hard to get accepted there. And then I ended up changing my mind, having a change of heart, really at the last minute, realizing that it wasn't for me, that I didn't want kind of like that strong, no freedom kind of like, military. It's not really like a job, like, okay, I quit. It's not like that. So I think when I had that change of heart, I wasn't making any money. I was just like an average kid, and my family really didn't like it, and it was really probably the most challenging time of my life. And I decided not to go, which I'm really grateful I didn't go. I started my first business making Android apps online. Made like like $3,000 a month, which is a lot for a kid. Started traveling Thailand, Cambodia, like Myanmar, traveling around the world, backpacking, doing all of that stuff, and just fell in love with Asia and decided to stay pretty much. So it was definitely a bumpy road. It was super bumpy road, but it really made me who I am. And then I think also as an investor, it really helps being a contrarian and going against what everybody does, which is something that I've naturally always been pretty good at. So it's kind of funny how it's kind of natural for me, I guess, to become an investor at the end because it's a similar skill set.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it leads nicely into our next question, which is, so the name of the game this evening is we're going to be talking about NFTs. You are an NFT investment guru and professional. So let's start with the first real question. What is an NFT?
Sure. So NFTs is basically a unique digital representation of something. So until now in the internet, like you couldn't have something unique in the digital world. Like if you have a photo, like I could download it to my computer and I have that photo. If you have a movie, I could download it. There's nothing unique there that it cannot be valuable because the photo cannot have any value if I can just copy it for myself. Now, NFTs is the first time that we were really able in the digital world to have something unique that is not the same. So for example, if you have a dollar and I have a dollar and we switch that, we both still have a dollar. And it's the same thing with a Bitcoin. If I have a Bitcoin, you have a Bitcoin, we switch that. That is fungible. It's the same value. But if you, for example, you have like, let's say you're a person, right? You have a house and I have a house. We switch houses. We don't have the same house. It's not a fungible asset. It's a non-fungible asset. And this is the first time that we found a way to represent that in the digital world. So if you look around you in the physical world, most things, they're not fungible assets. Like, if you have like a phone, if you have a computer, you have a house, it's not the same assets. Where now in crypto, you could do it the same way. Like you could have a collection of different things and they're not going to be the same. So you can now create a piece of art that only you can own that, or you can create only 200 pieces of that art. You can create a limited amount, and it creates a lot of really interesting dynamics with pieces of art, but really anything. So NFTs are a really unique way to create value really in the digital world.
Got it. And so I wanted to ask and just kind of double click on something you said there. So first off, we've had, by the way, everyone, I'm looking at my phone to see the comments, so that the interface we're using doesn't allow us to see the comments, or does it? Oh, no, it does. It does. We've just made some changes. So Frostdeck, hello. Lovely to see you. Lovely to have you with us. So we're talking a little bit about NFTs. You talked about the fact that they're unique, and it kind of brings an aspect of almost fungibility to something that could be existing many, many times over. But I guess there are a lot of people on the outside looking in at NFTs, and they're saying, well, what's all the commotion about if this is effectively a JPEG, right? If it's a JPEG of this blue book, and someone will pay thousands of dollars for it, I can just make a copy of that image and I will have the same thing. And I wanted to kind of just get your take on that because there are a lot of people looking in that have this kind of perspective.
Sure. So that's a great question. That's a question that we all asked ourselves when we first heard about NFT. Why can't I just download your NFT or your JPEG, your picture, save it on my phone, and then I have it as well, right? And the thing is that if you look at the real world, for example, like you could buy a fake watch for like $100, or you could buy the real watch for $3,000, $10,000. And the reason that people would still go and they buy the expensive watch is really to show that they have the original. It has like a new value. It has a specific value that's being the original watch. And then also you could show you can have like a status to show people that you actually have a $10,000, $50,000 watch. Now, in the digital world, like you could download an NFT and you could save it on your phone, but people are going to see that you don't have the original NFT. It's very easy to see that on the blockchain that you don't have a genuine version of that. So you don't have the status benefit from it. You're like a fake. People say like you don't really have that NFT. Like you said, it's like someone has a fake watch or something like that. It doesn't look good on them. And then also, I think for us, when we collect things, we want to know that we have the original. I think humans, they just love collecting things. And for me, when I buy a piece of art, like you want to know it's directly real from that artist. So you could have like a drawing of the Mona Lisa. You could buy a really good one for $5,000 or $20,000 that looks really similar, but still the reason that people would go and they pay like hundreds of millions of dollars for the real one is because of the value that it captures. It was the real Mona Lisa. It has like that true, genuine value. And it's a way for me to interact with the artist as well. Like I know like, wow, this is something that he actually created with his hands, and it's very unique. And in the digital world, like you cannot really fake things that easily. So it's kind of like a way also to show status and to interact with the artist and support their work.
Yeah. And how did you talked a little bit about your story coming to Asia and becoming an investor and leaving this development job that you had in this very prestigious institution. How did you because you started your journey investing in crypto, right? And in 2017, when you said you started, which by the way, is the same time I started, feels like much longer. But how did you kind of migrate from crypto to NFTs? Because it's just because I started in crypto in 2017, and I'm really just getting started with NFTs in the past few months. So what was your journey like from once you're already in crypto to now going into NFTs?
Sure. So I make YouTube videos every day. So I'm really like checking Twitter. Like Twitter is a really big part of my news show on YouTube. So I really stay up to date with a lot of things because it's literally my job. So what happened is really around February, I started seeing people mention this thing called NFT, and I started digging into it. I started hearing about people mentioning CryptoPunks, and I kind of looked into it. I didn't get it. I dismissed it the first few times, which is the same thing when we look at cryptos. The first few times we kind of dismissed that, and it kept popping at me. And then I think around March, Gary Vee really started pushing NFTs and CryptoPunks. And I looked into it, and then I had that aha moment. I'm like, oh, wow, like this could be huge. And I think to understand NFTs, you really need to have this perspective of understanding how things go from 0 to 1. So if you look at it, like initially when people were looking at the internet, people are looking at companies like Amazon, Google, and they're saying like, what is this? This doesn't make any sense. How is this even going to make money? And then people are really skeptical. People didn't really understand that this is not like the traditional companies that you would have before. This is not like Windows or anything like that. This is like kind of like new generation. And then later, when you had Bitcoin come around, people that invested in tech stocks like Amazon, Google, they were looking at Bitcoin. They're saying like, what is this thing? It's so weird. It's so different. And then when Ethereum came around, people were saying like, what is this thing? It's so weird. It's so different. And then now when you have NFTs come around, then the Ethereum people don't understand it. So basically every time you have an exponential change. You have something that is not a little bit better or a little bit different. You have something that is very different. So like Peter Thiel says, he says you go from 0 to 1. And you need to develop the skill set to identify those things when they go from 0 to 1, because you have a specific amount of group of people, and this is a very small amount of people that can actually understand how those things changes over time. They really have that understanding. And once you have that perspective where you learn about those shifts and how things are different, then you could have a lot of alpha, you can make a lot of money. So I think for me, it was a combination of just having the time digging into it and just being really open-minded to it, and learning about that. And once I understood kind of like digital scarcity and all that, because all of investing is really finding someone now before a lot of people found it, and knowing that a lot of people are going to buy it, and then you just buy in before the price goes up, and then the price goes up as people join, and then you sell. Like it's pretty simple. So once you understand that mechanism really well, you understand that you could invest in anything really, even if it's digital, JPEGs, as we like to joke in the space.
Yeah. Well, I saw someone funny post on Twitter the other day. They said they used to try to convert a word to PDF, and now they're paying thousands of dollars for a JPEG. So it's like the full evolution of I don't know, people not being able to use technology. Let me just check the next question. So I guess, we've talked a little bit, and by the way, guys, thank you so much for all your great questions. Amanda, Frostek have some great questions. We're going to go through, we have a kind of a list of agenda items we need to get through. We're going to be opening the floor later in the session. So we're going to be asking, we're going to be going through some of the user questions here. Open to seeing any more questions you guys have, and if anything becomes really relevant to what we're talking about, we'll kind of address it as we go. But otherwise, we'll be getting to the questions soon. So I guess the next question we have is how, hold on a sec. Let's go to this question. How do I know which NFT is worth buying?
Okay, so basically you have two ways to look at it. The question, it depends on like who is asking this. You have two types of people. You have the people that speculate, or investors, people that want to buy an NFT today for X amount of money to sell it for like more amount of money tomorrow, right? People that want to profit from that, and that's where I'm in this personally. And then the second type of person that's buying an NFT is people that just love the art, and they just want to, to hold it and have a certain connection with the artist, and they want to own like a unique piece, right? So that collection, that category of people, that's actually really easy to answer them. Like, you want to buy NFTs that you really like, and that you know that there are not going to be like a huge amount of them, or that you're somewhat aware of like the total supply of them. So you want to know if there's 200 copies of that piece of art that you like, or there's going to be 100,000 copies, and you need to buy it knowing that you might never sell it ever again just because you like it. So it's just a way for you to interact with your artist. So to that category of people, I just say just buy art that you like. Just same like the real world, right? You see a piece of art you like, you buy it. Now, for the people that speculate, or they want to invest, or they want to own a part of history, even if you don't want to like make money, maybe you just want to buy something that's going to like show off to your friends in 5 years that you actually have it. The way to look at that is you have a few things you want to look at. You want to look at NFTs that will survive the test of time. You want to ask yourself, what's going to be around in 5-10 years from now? What is going to have a lot of demand that a lot of people are going to be interested in, and a lot of people are going to be interested in something because there's going to have some certain advantage for that collection. What's unique about them, right? So basically, you want to think about like some moats, some network effects. So if you have an artist that has like millions of followers, and he's been an artist for like 20 years, he's probably going to be relevant in 10 years from now. You want to think about NFTs and collections that kind of cemented themselves in the history of NFTs. So for example, we have an artist called Beeple that I'm sure everyone heard about, or most people heard about, that basically sold an NFT for $69 million. He's been making NFTs like every day for like 13, he's been making digital pieces of art for 13 years now. He's been selling NFTs for like a long time as well. and he was really talked about heavily. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see his NFTs having some historical significance in 10 years from now, because he was literally part of the innovators in the space, right? So his NFTs collection might do well. We have CryptoPunks, which is really the first NFT collection on Ethereum. That it's the first collection, right? So we know that this is probably going to be relevant in 10 years from now as people get really excited about that. The community is already very big now. So you think as more and more people go into NFTs, there's going to be more and more interest in the first collection of NFTs, right? Which is CryptoPunks, right? So that's one that I hold personally. And you will just want to look for those bubbles. You want to look for an NFT that's going to be around. It's going to be going to have a lot of demand, going to represent something. So for example, there's NFTs that were created really early on Ethereum. They were kind of like the first NFT artists on Ethereum, so a bit similar to Beeple, right? You might look at them. So you had Xcopy, which is like an artist that he started creating NFTs like very early back in the day in 2018, and his pieces of art have been selling for a lot now, and they really have some historical significance. So I would look for that, and I would also look for NFTs that kind of show that you were there very early on. So like those pieces of art show that you were there really early on. With Ethereum, sometimes they create Ethereum NFTs. So we had AP1559 go live just a couple of weeks back. So someone actually created NFTs representing that you supported AP1559, and people bought that, and then the money actually went to the developers of the AP1559. So you basically were directly supporting those developers, and now that you have that NFT, you can literally show like I was there, I supported that, I was a part of history, I was in attendance, I attended that event. So those are another type of NFTs that are pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You keep talking about this, moment in time. This idea that an NFT represents a specific kind of moment in time, and I think it's very interesting. And Devere, I wanted to change gears a little bit. We've got an interesting question from Yane here, and Yane, I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. Yane asks, how do you investigate an NFT project before investing? How to evaluate the risks and mitigate downside? So I want to slightly modify that question. So because Yane has actually, thank you, Yane, has asked a very interesting question that our viewers might not be aware of. So I wanted to open this idea of differentiating an NFT from, and by the way, this one isn't on our list. I'm just going from the chat, but we're differentiating NFTs from NFT platforms. So can you maybe just tell the viewers a little bit about how are these two things different? And do you have an investment thesis for platforms that might be different to your investment thesis for NFTs themselves?
So I'm not sure if I understood the question correctly. Basically, right now you have a few big NFT marketplaces which just allow you to buy and sell NFTs, right? So you have OpenSea, you have Nifty Gateway, you have Rarible. And basically for me, it doesn't matter when I buy an NFT, it doesn't matter on which platform I buy it. I just look for the NFT specifically. So it's almost the same for me.
Got it. And do you have a view? Because I think I'm probably on the other end of the spectrum to you. I'm pretty busy running Alpha Impact, a great social trading platform that we're helping people find top traders to follow and copy. But my approach is actually to buy the tokens. For example, Nifty Gateway has a token and it's done fantastically this year. Do you have a view on those tokens?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Yeah, so that's a great question. I actually didn't know that they have a token. This is the first time I hear about, so this is 100% new to me. But the investment thesis for buying a token is just looking at like the same thing when you evaluate an NFT. Like, is there a big advantage? Do they have a lot of users? Do they have a lot more room to grow? Like, will this be around in 3-10 years from now? Like, do I think this is going to be the leading platform? Or do I just want to get exposure? So what you could do right now, if OpenSea and all those platforms had the token, like you could buy a token from like the top 3 exchanges, the platforms that I mentioned, and you could just hold that to get exposure to the NFT space, right? So I think it is really interesting. You want to look at what you want to do is you want to look at the graph of like NFT volume month to month. You want to look at that growth, which has obviously been going just absolutely parabolic. And you want to look at the token and the total diluted market cap, and you want to see if it makes sense for you to buy some of that. And I think that and I think also it's like looking at the current chart of the token, just looking at like, did the price go up a lot recently? Like, am I buying after a big rally, or does it look like it didn't pump that much? Like, do you want to see if there's a divergence? Maybe like the volume of NFTs went up a lot, whereas the price of the token didn't go up that much. So you can see that the value is going up a lot, whereas the price didn't go up that much. So this could be a good opportunity. But if you see that the price is up 10 times in the last 3 months, then it's a little bit risky in that sense as well.
Yeah, and I apologize to everyone who's watching. The reason I looked down, I actually have a graph that it might be difficult to see, so I'll just show for a second. But this, oh, hold on. There we go. This is the NFT monthly volume, and I don't know if that's reversed or not, but you can actually see we're now at an all-time high. So what that tells me, just like you've said, your, nifty gateway for me is one that hasn't. It's actually gone down, whereas we've gone way up in terms of transaction volume. So there could be a good play there. I just need to make clear for our viewers, this is not investment advice. Vera and I are not licensed financial advisors. At least I'm not. I assume you're not either, Vera. So
no, definitely not.
Need to do your own research, and this is not an investment instruction or a piece of advice. So let me go back to the list. I had another question I wanted to ask you. So we've talked a lot about NFTs being a kind of snapshot of a moment in time. We've talked about the fact that having a copy of something is not as good as having the real thing. But how do we know that if I have an NFT of a cat or a blue book or a coffee cup, how do you know that an NFT is in fact an original? How does that work?
Sure. So for most people, it's very easy. You just look actually at the gallery of, let's say you have my NFTs, right? So you just look at my gallery and you can actually see if I have it on OpenSea or whatever NFT marketplace I show it on. Usually it's going to show you if it's a really part of that collection or not. So you can see very easily it doesn't have like a check mark. So for example, like any of the big NFT collections like Beeple or CryptoPunks, they're going to have like the blue check mark showing they're authentic. And you would look at that. Now, if you're more tech savvy, you could actually do this on the blockchain. This is a little bit harder for most people to do, but you could just go and you would look at the token in your wallet on the blockchain. You would look at the token contract address of the NFT, and you just see if it matches the real token address of that. So for example, if you have a CryptoPunk, I'm going to look at the token that you have. I'm going to see the contract address if it's the same as the original CryptoPunk address. So I'm going to manually check them. But this is not going to happen most of the time. Most of the time, it's going to be done automatically on the exchange, by the platform. So it's kind of like on Twitter. You can just see if you have the blue check mark for people, if you know it's the real person or not, if it's someone famous. Same thing like that for NFTs. So it's actually easy, and it's much easier than physical pieces of art, like NFTs in the real world, where it's so difficult to verify if something is true, is original or not, because the fakes are actually getting really good.
Yeah, no, it's very true. So how do you see, we're obviously at a very early stage in terms of the demand for NFTs. The supply of NFTs is kind of just starting, but I kind of look at this like the .com era, where we had supply for all kinds of services where there's no demand yet. I think that now there's a bit of a supply. There's a lot of supply. So I guess, how do you see the market changing over the next 10 years? And, we're moving from analog to digital. What does that look like in terms of NFTs, and how do you see the landscape changing in 10 years?
So basically, you're going to have a lot of NFTs for everything, and most NFTs aren't going to have a lot of value. Most NFTs that you see created today are going to be worthless or worth very little, I would say, in 5 to 10 years. So you're going to see really value accrue at the extremes. You're going to have kind of like the OG NFTs, like the NFTs that managed to survive the test of time. They're going to be much more valuable than they are today, 10, 100 times more valuable, even more than that. And you're going to have a lot of NFTs that aren't worth that much. They're going to be worth even less in 10 years from now or so. And I think that NFTs are just going to be like a common thing that everyone has. It's almost like today, a lot of influencers, they have a merch store. They sell like their own custom shirts or whatever. And like 5 years ago or 7 years ago, that was a really unique concept, whereas now everyone has it. So it's not such a big deal if you have that. It's like, okay, like you got a merch from that person, you're a supporter of them. So I think it's going to be the same way, but you're just going to have some pieces of NFTs that are going to be like worth like really a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go to the next question. I guess the two big innovations we've seen in the last 12 months have been DeFi and NFTs. So I guess just wanted to understand your views on why NFTs have become so popular.
Sure. So basically, you have to understand that DeFi is not that most people aren't that financial savvy. Most people don't really care about earning more interest, lending their money for higher yield. Like yield farming. Those are things that require a lot of people with financial knowledge and financial literacy. And I think, frankly, most people don't really care about this day to day. But with NFTs, I think it's something that everyone understands. Like if someone creates an NFT and it's a digital item, you want to buy that. And a lot of people can create their own NFTs. A lot of celebrities, they go and they do an NFT drop, and the celebrity realizes like, wow, like I can do an NFT drop, I can make $2-4 million. And when we saw like a football star do an NFT drop for like $4.5 million, and that's money that they just got out of thin air. They just created their NFTs, they just sold them, and then they made like a few millions of dollars. And every time a celebrity does it, they tell all their fans about it. So you have millions of people that are hearing about NFTs and getting a little bit familiar with that. And so the celebrities are making a lot of money. They're spreading that to a lot of their audience. They're just sharing that, and then the audience understands it a lot better. Like you could buy an NFT of the celebrity, like you could buy, like I saw Logan Paul, he dropped kind of like his own cards with a lot of different features. So it's really exciting for a lot of people. They love collecting, they love supporting their their favorite influencer. Like I know Logan Paul has been selling a lot of merch, right? So now people were really into buying his merch, right? His merch line, and now they do the same thing with NFTs. So people are going to be really into that. And that's why everybody get excited about that. And then also when you hear about those numbers, you hear about Logan Paul doing like $4 million in an NFT drop, that hits the news, and then more influencers hear about it, and then more people do NFT drops. So it's just like a reflexive, like, it's just like a really bullish like loop. It just makes NFTs much more popular. So I think that's why NFTs are probably going to be a much bigger trend than DeFi, is just because they talk to a lot more people.
Yeah, and that leads beautifully into the next question, which is, I guess, how are NFTs different to DeFi? Can you compare them, and are they the same? And I know we have a lot of people who are kind of looking in on the outside. What's your view?
Sure. So basically, like DeFi helps people make more use of their capital more efficiently, but it requires them to be really tax savvy. So it applies to a very small subset of the population. People don't really care about that. Like the average person doesn't really care about that. But then with NFTs, like so many people care about that. So you have a lot more people that can interact with that and all of that. Like for me, I didn't get that deep into DeFi, but I got really deep into NFTs. I thought it was really easy concept to understand. I thought it was much safer in that sense. I think there's some risks with DeFi. So I just think that it's just much more enticing to people. And that NFT, like DeFi and NFTs in 10 years from now, they're both going to be huge. But I think that NFTs are just going to get a lot of mainstream adoption just much faster. I think the DeFi might just be targeting like a smaller subset of the population that really cares about finance and all that.
Yeah, so would it be fair to say that NFTs are kind of for everyone or anyone, the consumer market, and DeFi is kind of for the financial market?
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay, let's go to the next question, which is, I love this question. So one of the criticisms of crypto is that it's really speculation driven. And, I'm come from a finance background, and there's a lot of people in the traditional finance world who think that crypto is just totally speculation driven. They don't understand the stuff that we understand, the stock to flow model and all these ways of analyzing cryptocurrencies based on the underlying demand. But the criticism is crypto is all speculation driven and there's no value in cryptocurrencies. So I guess I just wanted to understand in your mind, how you see the demand for NFTs being different for the demand from crypto.
Sure. So basically, you could say that anything is speculative. Like you could say that collecting pieces of art, you can say that the price is speculative. You could say that people like trade like different foreign currencies, like a lot of traders like to trade that. You could say that stocks are speculative. Like you could say that everything has some amount of speculation in it. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have utility value. And in the case of Ethereum, for example, just to answer that real quick, I think you can buy Ether. You need to buy Ether to use the Ethereum ecosystem. So basically, if you're in the world of decentralization and Ethereum like applications, like you need Ether. It's kind of like the currency. It's kind of like when you go to the United States, you need the US dollar. You go to Singapore, you need the Singaporean dollar. And so on, you need that to play in that ecosystem. So that's the value for that. And then also the value of NFTs really comes from being able to hold a piece of a unique piece from your favorite artist, like really having a part of that historical, being part of something that could have historical significance. So for me, if I hold CryptoPunks, I know that I have a part of the first NFT collection. And it makes me really excited that I'm actually a part of this movement. Like, yes, I love to make money and I'd love to sell it higher as well. But I also know that like I got in, there's only going to be 10,000, and it's a huge thing to show off to people once they finally learn about the value of this. Of like, you know, someone could show me like a Lamborghini that they have, but I literally can show them like an NFT collection that is much more unique and it's probably going to be worth much more. So I think that NFTs have that unique value to them. And then also the value of NFTs is just also that you could sell it higher. Like if you know that a piece of art is going to go up in value as an artist get more popular or more people are going to be interested in that, that also gives it a lot of value as well. So you just know that it just gives it value as an investment, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because there is this concept in financial services of something having an intrinsic value. And, you know, with stocks, we can point to the price to equity ratio. We can point to how many cars Tesla has sold, how many they've shipped, how many they've built. In crypto, at least in Bitcoin, we can look at the MVRV. We can look at the stock to flow model. There's all kinds of different ways of valuing these assets. Art is totally all over the place. It's totally intangible, and so you can have a real piece of art, and it's a much less tangible way of valuing stuff. So it's interesting to hear your thoughts on how the demand kind of flows through. I guess we are a copy trading company, and there's lots of people here who want to perhaps copy you. What's the best way to profit from this trend in terms of NFTs? How do you go about doing that for maybe people who are just getting started?
So, okay, so that's two different questions, right? How do you make money in NFTs, and then how do you get started in NFTs, right? So to make money in NFTs, like what I would just say is just buy like some CryptoPunks, because that's kind of like the first NFT collection on Ethereum, and you just kind of getting exposure to the entire space, because the bullish theory for CryptoPunks is the more people that go into NFTs, the more people are going to care about the first NFT collection. Because if you look at art and collecting things, the most expensive thing, the most valuable thing is always the first edition, always, from what I've seen at least. So you could expect that a lot of value is going to accrue to CryptoPunks over time. So if you're bullish on NFTs, what you could do is you could just buy CryptoPunks in that sense, and it's a super simple thing. That's been my thesis, which is why I've been accumulating mostly CryptoPunks, really. And then the second question was, how do you get started in the NFT space? So I would say go to OpenSea.io and just browse their NFT marketplace. Look for artists that you like, look for certain things that you like I like anime, right? So I'm going to look like One Piece or whatever. I'm going to look at, see what people have, see if you have something that you really like, and maybe buy like a cheap NFT for like $50, $100. Maybe buy a few of those, try to sell them, see what it's like to see if you can sell it or not, how long it takes to sell. Just play around the space, and then in the same time as you're doing that, I would go and I would search on YouTube for like Gary V NFTs. I think he's done a lot of really good videos on the topic, really talking about his thesis for CryptoPunks and NFTs as a whole. I think he explains it really well. I would also go and follow on Twitter. There's a very known personality in the NFT space. It's called DC Investor. And I would go and I would follow his account. I would read all of his tweets from the last 6 months or so. Just really go over his tweets if you want, like read as much as you can. He talks a lot about NFTs there. Study the things, look up the things that he talks about, CryptoPunks, the autoglyphs, the generative art block things. Look at his Twitter link. There's going to be a link to his NFT gallery, so you could go and watch his NFT gallery and NFT collection, and look those things up and learn about them, and try to understand why those things have value, what do they represent, and really listen to that. And then also there is a good podcast on NFTs. It's called Modern Finance by Kevin Rose. I would listen to the first episode with DC Investor, the same guy I mentioned. He showed up on the podcast 2 times as well in addition to that. So I would listen to all those 3. They're really good. And then also after you do that, go on Twitter and really try to follow the people that really you see DC Investor following, kind of mentioning, and try to really integrate with the community and learn more about that. And that's going to take you really deep into NFTs. And I think that that's a great way to get started. Yeah.
Okay. And I guess, we're based here in Singapore, and the big news earlier this year that Beeple's NFT was purchased for $69 million was something that I think made a lot of people sit up and pay attention. So can you talk us through that saga, the NFT, and how it came about, and perhaps fill in some of the viewers who don't have as much info as we do?
Sure. So basically, NFTs have been around since 2017, so about 4 years now. But the moment when the world really realized, like, oh wow, like this is a big thing, and the world really heard about NFTs, was when we had that mind-blowing sale when Beeple sold an NFT for $69 million, representing 13 years of his work, and he sold it to a Singaporean as well, which was really cool. And I think that was an historical moment that will be remembered, I think, in 100 years from now as well, because it shows really the moment that NFTs went mainstream and they hit the mainstream awareness. And I think that until now it was really niche thing, and that was also something that I heard about. It got me to go into NFTs, and I think that was really like the gunfire that really started, I would say, the race of NFTs going mainstream, and it made a lot of people like realize, like, oh wow, like this is legit, this is not going anywhere, and I should look into this. So I think this was really an historical moment, and I think that also made Beeple an historical figure in that sense. That's why I think his NFTs have a good shot of really surviving like 10, 50, 100 years from now as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I actually watched his interview with Laura Shin. And one of the big motivating factors for Metakovan, the purchaser of this, was he said time. The amount of time you can actually see on the blockchain when Beeple started and finished working on each of these, because it's actually a compilation. It's many different works. And it was something crazy like 7 or 8 years worth of time that they'd spent on this.
It was 13 years, actually, I think.
13 years, yeah. So $69 million, 13 years, I've made some money, but I haven't made that kind of money in the last 13 years. So I think it's a pretty good return on time. So that was one of the real motivating factors for Metakovan. And I think a lot of people don't realize that you can have, it's not just ownership, right? It's actual effort that's been put in.
Yeah, so NFTs and art, I mean, this is nothing new. If you look at pieces of art, a lot of the time, what it represents and the story behind it. And like I said, like you could show me a T-shirt and I'll be like, it's worth $10, and then you'll tell me that Michael Jordan wore it on specific events, and it could be worth $1 million. So it's a lot about what that thing symbolizes, and that Beeple NFT really symbolizes 13 years of work, dedication, doing an NFT, digital art every day, even when you don't want to do it. And I think those are showing qualities that are really admirable, like perseverance, dedication, full dedication to your craft. And those are things that I really value. I feel like that also shows excellence, and that's something that I always strive for in my life. So I could definitely see, I don't know I don't know how much it should be worth, but I could definitely see it as something very valuable.
Yeah, it's astounding, really. And it's interesting because Metakovan actually did this to kind of give himself PR value, not permanent residency PR value, which is something that lots of foreigners and think of Singapore think about, but public relations. He wanted to get out there and really spread the word that this NFT craze was here. Okay, let me see. We have, I think, one more question. So I know we have a lot of folks out there who are thinking about NFTs from the artist's point of view. How can artists profit from NFTs? Is there a game plan or a framework that you'd use?
Sure. So basically, you need to get attention. You need to build a following. You need to build a community. Same like anything in the real world today. I mean, you need an audience. Like when you start a YouTube channel like me, like I made like 4 videos a day, every day for like about 4 months before going to like 1 video a day. And now I'm back to doing 2 videos a day. So you need that consistency. You need to put yourself out there. Like if you're a musician, you're an artist. So I would definitely do what Beeple has done. I would do like 1 NFT a day. I would do like every day, no days off. They say like 100% is a breeze, and then 99% is really hard. And that's so true in life. Like you want to commit to doing that every day, and you want to put that piece of art on Twitter. You want to put it on your Instagram. You want to put it as an NFT on OpenSea, and you want to get feedback on that. So you want to do that. And then I'll say once you have like 10 days in a row, 30 days in a row, I would go and I would reach the NFT community. I would look up NFT collectors on Twitter, and I would just message them and ask them like, yo, what do you think about my collection? What would you say? What do you like? What do you don't like? What are your thoughts about that? What's your feedback on it? And I would take some feedback. And of course, I would stay true to myself as an artist. I would do what I want to do, but I would try to get myself out there and build a following. So I think at the end of the day, it comes to consistency, and it comes to building an audience, and then just talking to the community. And I think if you do an NFT every day, then I think that's like 70% of the equation. I think the other 20-30% is just like talking to people and getting feedback. And then of course you want to see like what trends are really hot. You want to see what people are really into, and yeah, just you want to be consistent about it.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You've talked a little bit about building a following and having an online presence, and I think that's just in anything that has to do with crypto. It's so important to have that online following. And by the way, Devere, I've actually shared a link to your YouTube channel. So those that are, I know you've been very humble and you haven't talked about your amazing channel, but I have been a consumer of media on the Crypto FOMO channel. There's 70 or 71,000 people who are also subscribing to this to get updates. Tell us a little bit about the stuff you post about on your channel.
Sure, thank you. So basically, I just make 2 videos a day every day, one about Ethereum, one about Cardano, and really explore like the news and how the space is growing. So I have 2 parts to my video. First, we talk about technical analysis, the price updates, like the charts, it's going up, it's going down, it's going in circles. We really cover that a lot. That's kind of like the first half of the video. And then the second half of the video is really we talk about news. That could be more technical analysis, that could be more charts from different people, that could be like different projects like yourselves, like Alpha Impact, kind of launching different upgrades. And I'm just keeping my community up to date with what's going on in the space. So I think if someone wants to learn more about the space, I think watching those can help them. And people that watch my videos have told me that it just saves them a lot of time, because I'm kind of like aggregating all the news and I'm adding my analysis on them as well. So it's kind of like a really easy place to get started. And yeah, see if you like it. You can check it out. I've been really grateful to have an audience that enjoys my videos, and it's been really fun.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Devere, I want to give the audience a chance to ask some questions, but first I just want to give a small, short shout out to the Alpha Impact community and let everyone know. I guess this would be the part where we would say this is a message from our sponsor. So Alpha Impact, we are the sponsor. For those that are just tuning in, we're really glad to have you guys here. I don't feel bad doing this because we waited 42 minutes for us to talk about Alpha Impact. So this will just be a short diversion before the audience questions. And Devere, you've been answering questions nonstop, so I want to give you a minute or so to catch your breath. So Alpha Impact is a social media network that allows customers and cryptocurrency enthusiasts to find a top trader. We allow top traders to monetize the trading that they're doing and build a following. And also we allow followers to find a top trader according to their personal investing style. We have a section of our website just for finding NFT traders for these NFT tokens. We have a section of the website just for DeFi, for high risk, for low risk. So it's very exciting. Our website is alphaimpact.fi. I'll share that. We're going to be launching our beta in a few weeks' time, so we're really excited to have you join us. So join Alpha Impact beta at www.alphaimpact.fi. So that's all. That's a quick word from me. Now we're going to go to the networking session. So to Yane and Frostek and Amanda and all those people that have been waiting patiently, let's go back and get to these questions. So Frostek, this one is for you, Devere. He says, I believe it's a he, anything can become an NFT. So that's a great question. And a lot of people think that, and I used to think it's just JPEGs, just very poorly pixelated JPEGs, which we now know have become worth $140,000. But the CryptoPunks that, of course, we've been referring to are a JPEG. But can other stuff become a JPEG? Can you make an NFT? Can you make an NFT of a non-image?
Yeah, so basically NFTs can be anything that is unique, right? So you can create an NFT giving rights. Like I could create an NFT and I could sell it to my audience, and that NFT, whoever holds that NFT could basically have like 1 hour of my time every month to ask me any question or something like that. So any celebrity could do that as well, selling like some time with them. So it could be like a digital ticket. It can be anything. Like it could be like a song, like a pianist could create an NFT of one of their pieces and they could sell that. So they can have like their, one of their songs, it could be like 200 pieces of that song, and every piece is like every copy is an NFT. So really anything could be an NFT, and the skies is the limit. I mean, you think about the physical world, like what could be an NFT. I mean, everything is like non-fungible, right? Like you have a TV, it's unique. You have a statue, it's unique. You have like a table, it's unique. So as we go into the digital world, really anything can be an NFT. So right now, yes, you have pictures, movies, videos. You have like some digital rights. You have, it could be like a ticket for something. There's a lot of exciting things, and really like the sky's the limit. I think that in 10 years from now, like there's going to be like some use cases for NFTs that we haven't even thought about. So I'm really excited to see that space grow.
Yeah, and there are probably a lot more NFTs because there's so much money flowing into the space. People want to cash in, right? So I guess the next question that we had from Frostech was, do all of the NFTs that are currently out there deserve attention?
Yeah, so the NFTs that deserve attention, you have two reasons. Either you want to buy it because you love the NFT, or two, you just want to make money, right? So if you like it because you like it, then you can buy it. Like just make sure that it's really, if you like the artist, like just make sure that you're buying it directly from the artist and you're not just buying like a cheap copy that's probably going to be worthless unless you just want to hold that NFT for whatever reason, right? So if you just like the NFT, you can buy it. But if you want to make money, then it comes back to what we talked about. You want to think about NFTs that are going to stand the test of time, NFTs that have a lot of audience, like Beeple has an audience of millions of people. So you want to look at NFTs that are going to have potentially historical significance and all of that. So if you have a token, like let's say right now people are really bullish on Bitcoin, like you could buy some NFTs that have, like some of the first NFTs that were created about Bitcoin. You could buy a Beeple NFT about Bitcoin, or whatever. So you can buy things that you like and that you are bullish on, think that they will grow in the future. And so those are the NFTs that you would pay attention to. So I really love Ethereum, so I'm collecting like Ethereum NFTs, for example.
Got it. And I will be honest and candid. I have not bought any NFTs. Do you think it's a good time to get started? Because here's my problem. I don't have time. So if I just buy and hold forever, will it go up? Is it like Bitcoin, or is it case by case?
Yeah, so it's definitely case by case. I'm really bullish on CryptoPunks. That's like pretty much almost all of my NFT exposure, I would say, the vast majority. And yeah, not only am I bullish on it versus the US dollar, like the value will go up in dollars, I'm also bullish on it versus Ethereum. So I think right now it costs like 44 Ethereum to get a CryptoPunk. Like I think that will probably go to like 100, 200, really in the next few months, if not in the next few years. So I'm really bullish on that in that sense.
Got it. Well, 2.5x. It's interesting. We're crypto is always going up and down. Yeah,
that's a lot. Like 2.5x versus Ethereum, and I think Ethereum is going to go to like 6 figures. So I mean it's just like an insane multiplier.
Oh, I see. So your argument is not a linear 2.5x. Your argument is in Ethereum terms, it's going to be 2.5x.
Yeah, so I think like the cheapest CryptoPunk will probably go for $1 million, I think later this year or early next year. So I think we're pretty close to there in terms of time span. So yeah, I'm just very bullish on this. And I think we just have a lot more room to go with NFTs this year. I think we haven't really started exploring that. And I think that, yeah, like normies, as we call them in crypto, like the normal people, like they're not really into NFTs right now. I think we're not really just getting started, but I would say we're still in the middle of this NFT kind of like bubble building. I think we have a lot more room to go.
I agree. And all the stuff we talk about in terms of the short-term headwinds for Bitcoin, that we see over the coming week or two, the end of the year, all the models that we've done is a line that goes up and to the right. And people tend to think that crypto is very volatile, and NFTs will be very volatile as well. But if you zoom out, and it just kind of goes up and to the right, and that's a function of the fact that we're very early in the demand cycle. So this is a logarithmic asset class. You have to zoom out to see what's really happening. So we've got time for a few more questions. I've seen one more come in, but I just want to go back to something Yane asked. At what point would you sell an NFT that has gained a lot of value? Any strategy to this? Might be a tough question. I guess it is always easier if you have more than one from the same collection.
So basically, the reason to sell an investment is when you think it reached its potential. So, for example, if you look at Facebook, everyone started using Facebook, I would say really around 2010, I would say, like at that point, like Facebook kind of had a lot. Now, Facebook, I think, still did like a 10 to 15x since then. So selling that, even that was a mistake. I mean, if you anything outside of crypto, I mean, that's a lot of growth, right? During that time period. So I would say the time to sell an NFT would be, it depends on which NFT it is, but in general, like when you think that it reached its potential, and it reached its potential when everyone like are holding it. So for example, with CryptoPunks, like when CryptoPunks are displayed in all galleries, when art collectors really understand CryptoPunks, when they heard about them, when you start to see like people say like this is the price of the CryptoPunk and all that. And then also I think for me, like when I think we all have kind of like an individual target for where we think like those things could be worth. And I will say that like in general, the people that really get rich, like they just hold. Like so there's no reason to sell. Like if you just held Facebook stock like over time, like it would have done really well. So there's no reason for me to sell my Facebook stock. There's no reason for me to sell my CryptoPunks. The price is just going to keep going up long term. And I mean, yeah, like I said, like Facebook was created, for example, in 2003 or so. And I think that right now we're in 2021 and Facebook is still going up a lot. So I mean, it's still been 18 years or so. So the point is, what I'm trying to say is that I don't know when to sell it, but in general, just hold it and you will do really well. And if you need the money, then you could just sell it whenever you need the money. But don't sell it thinking like, oh, it will go down from here. Because usually like good stores of value, like good assets that keep growing, like their price keeps growing as well.
Yeah, no, it's a very valid thesis, and I think it really comes down to you should only invest in things that you believe are going to solve a problem in the long term, right? There's all kinds of reasons to buy and hold stuff, but if you believe, like many people did in Facebook in the early days, that it was growing exponentially, serving this need that had not been met, it would have been a great investment, and it's still a great investment. So we just have one last question from Nixon Okoli. And before we get to the question, Nixon, I haven't seen you here before, so welcome. I'd like to welcome you to our channel. What does the back end of an NFT look like? Where is the data stored? And finally, is the storage decentralized?
Yeah, so basically the NFT is stored on the blockchain. So it's just stored the same way like a cryptocurrency is stored, like Ethereum and Bitcoin. So you basically can see it in your blockchain wallet. So you could use a blockchain explorer like Etherscan to view it. If you're not sure what all that means, basically it's stored on the blockchain in this centralized manner, just like cryptocurrencies are stored. And then basically you view it with an NFT marketplace or an NFT gallery that accesses the blockchain, and then displays it to you. And then is the storage decentralized? Yeah, so you basically keep control over your NFT. It's like holding cash, like you hold it yourself on your wallet. So like you hold that NFT in that sense, and no one can take it from you. So if that answers you, so in that way, I guess you could say it's decentralized. No one can ban your NFT from you. No one can do it. It's only you hold it.
But I guess just to expand on that question, we have this saying in crypto, and Nixon, I'm not sure if you've been in crypto for a long time, but Dvir, the saying in crypto is always not your keys, not your crypto. And so what that means is if you leave your assets on an exchange, for example, someone else can control them. And as we've just seen today, there was a hack of, I think it was the Liquid exchange. Could your NFT be stolen if you have it on a centralized wallet or an exchange somewhere? I know there's not NFT exchanges, but let's just assume there was such a service.
So there actually is. I think Nifty Gateway. I think if you buy an NFT, I think they store it for you. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. I'm pretty sure so.
Sorry, I'm a grandpa.
No problem, man. No problem. I didn't know it until a few days ago.
I own the token, but I don't know what the business does. So there you go.
So fair enough. Yeah, I just found out about it a few days ago. So if you keep it in Nifty Gateway, then the token can be taken from you by Nifty Gateway. If you keep it on a centralized exchange, they can take it from you. But most people right now keep their NFTs on blockchain directly for them. So they no one can take it from them unless their wallet is compromised, which shouldn't happen.
And could it be on a hardware wallet on a one of those little devices?
Yeah, exactly. So excuse me. So you keep the NFT on your hardware wallet, basically. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And this is an advanced question. Is there an NFT collateralized lending market? I think the big innovation for DeFi has been I can deposit my assets on somewhere and borrow another asset, right? I can deposit USDT and borrow Bitcoin. I can deposit Bitcoin and borrow USDT. Is that something that we can do with NFTs today?
Yeah, so you can do it today. It's just in the early days. I cannot tell you a website off the top of my head that does it, but I know there are that do it. So yes, I would say like right now, it's too risky because it's so new, so I wouldn't use it. But I would say, yes, it exists. It's just created, I think like just in the last few months, we saw the first ones launch. And it's only a matter of time until you could use your NFTs as collateral, especially like the more established ones like CryptoPunks and all that. Like the established ones, you'll definitely be able to use as collateral in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, if there's any more questions, we'll give everyone 30 seconds or so to get those in. Nixon, thank you so much. Amanda, Yane, Frostek, thank you all for your questions. Devere, thank you so much for your time. It's really lovely to have you on the show. I know it's been very busy and lots of crazy stuff. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to help us. Good luck for the next episode of the show. We'd like to invite everyone to firstly subscribe to our channel. So you can subscribe. I think the button is here. Oh, it might be here. There. So like and subscribe our channel. Devere, you're laughing, I'm sure, because I'm not a pro influencer yet. And also check out the Crypto FOMO channel. Devere, what's your next video going to be on? Have you come up with the topic?
Yeah, so I make like news videos every day, so I'm just gonna wake up and check what's going on in the market. But I think over the next decade or so, I'm just really excited about all those technologies, decentralization, NFTs, and I just can't wait to honestly like make a lot of money, but also just to be a part of this historical movement that we're witnessing right in front of our eyes unfolding. It's really beautiful.
It's very true. Very true. Well, thank you so much, Devere, Crypto FOMO. Lovely to have you with us. Namaste. Thank you to everyone for joining. We're going to be back, I think it's next week or it might be the week after. I just want to make a quick plug. The next event that we're going to be having, or one of the next events we're going to be having, is with none other than the Alpha Impact co-founder, Austin Chaird. He is my co-founder, my brother from another mother. He heads up product and technology at our business. So all the technical stuff that I don't understand, he makes sure that our complex copy trading system actually works and that everything's going well. So really excited to welcome him to the show. That's going to be, I think, in 2 weeks' time on the 1st. We also have Maggie Wu from Crypto. We're going to be talking about investing like a crypto VC. So stay tuned for those the week of September 1st. We will be back with you then. And Devere, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining. Have a great night.
My pleasure. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.